Yo guys, what's up? This is Tazy, and today we are doing a $1,500 PC build with the GTX 1070. So this is a new graphics card that just released on June 10th, and this graphics card has amazing performance. People say it's just as good as a GTX Titan X, that's pretty powerful, and for the price, only $629 Canadian. It is pretty good, I would say. So let's get right into it. The GTX 1070 is 3 times as powerful as the 970, which I think is amazing. So first up, we have the CPU. I selected the Intel Core i5-6600K, and this socket type is a LGA1151. So this is compatible with most motherboards. It is clocked at 3.5 gigahertz, but if you have a decent CPU cooler, you could get it up to 3.9 gigahertz. It has 4 cores, and it has integrated HD graphics, so that means if you didn't want it to be a gaming PC, you don't have to put a graphics card in it, but it can't run that many games. So for the price, it comes around $300. I think it's a great CPU, but if you want to pick up an i7-6700 for an extra $100, you could do that. Now for the CPU cooler, I just went with the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. Now this is a good, decent Cooler Master CPU cooler. This CPU cooler could do some light overclocking, and it comes around $40. Now for the motherboard, I choose the Asus Z170 ATX LGA 1115. Why is that way too many ones? 1151 motherboard. Now this motherboard is amazing, I'd say, because it's an ATX motherboard, so it's not a small motherboard. Of course, you could put mostly any 5th generation, 6th generation CPU in there from Intel, and it has up to DDR4, 64 gigabytes of RAM, and it has SLI support. So for $200, I'd say that's pretty good. And now for the memory, we went the Corsair Vengeance, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. So for $80 for DDR4, 16 gigabytes of RAM, I say that's pretty good. And for a build like this, you want 16 gigabytes of RAM, because the new AAA games are recommended 16 gigabytes of RAM. Now with the storage, I went with a 2 terabyte because the game files are getting way bigger now. So I went with a 2 terabyte Seagate hard drive. Now this is $90, and for $90, it's a great mechanical hard drive. Of course, if you want to bump it down, you could get a $60 WD and 1 terabyte, but I do not recommend that. Now I went with the SSD for this build. For this kind of build, you want an SSD, so I just went with a Samsung 850 EVO Series 250 gigabytes 2.5-inch solid state drive for around $100. And for $100, I say that's pretty good because it's going to load up your games a lot fast. Now with the video card, of course, I went with the EVGA GeForce GTX 1080 8GB Founders Edition video card. Now this is $629. Of course, that is Canadian, so it's going to be different in US. So that's pretty good. And if you guys ever wanted to SLI to get better performance for new games, you could obviously do that later on in the future. So with the case, I went with the NZXT S340 ATX mid-tower case. Now this case is only $100, and for $100, it's a great, nice looking case. And of course, for the power supply, I choose the EVGA Supernova NEX 650 watt 80 plus gold certified fully modular ATX power supply. And now this will, of course, it will power your CPU and your GPU, no problem. So that's why I chose it. So I hope you guys like this video. If you guys want more PC builds, just comment down in the description. And this is Tazy, and I'm out. Peace.